I'm in my own lane, trying to handle business. I'm just out here trying to get it. I'm just out here trying to get it. Me and my team trying to get it. Get some money, then flip it.
Yeah, that's some funny shit, yo. He got a crazy song out.
Kamari?
Yeah. I can't wait to see what he gonna follow with. I know he just said that
over my head. You got another joint after that?
He just announced he about to come out with something.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
Because he had an album release party or some shit.
A single. He did a single like a single
two
release
summers
party.
ago, right?
Yeah.
Last summer.
It was out of my head. That joint, it did crazy
that shit been rocking
numbers.
for the past like 2 years, right?
Yeah, that joint did crazy numbers, and he just haven't followed up yet. So, all right, Mars World Radio. We got my guy Derrick McCoy in the building.
What's going on, everybody?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Now, this is a little different. I know most people expect me to only interview artists, and that's actually not my goal. I want to interview a wide range of people. So, what I want you to do is I want you to tell people what you do for a living, because I think it's very interesting, actually, and I got some questions for you about that.
All right, so some of you do know, some of you don't know. I've been an RN for about 6 years, going into my 7th year now. I actually work in the surgical ICU at a local hospital. I ain't shouting them out because they ain't paying me for an ad right now. But yeah, I'm a surgical ICU nurse. I teach clinical for a local college. Did 4th semester and I also did 1st semester. So yeah, I'm getting my feet wet out here, man.
That's dope. Nah, see, I didn't know about the teaching.
Yeah.
Now, as far as with registered nurse, I know they was like pushing. I remember when we were coming out of high school, they were pushing for like more male nurses. Was that what got you into it, or was it a dream to always do it, or was it kind of thing you fell into, or what was it?
I can't say it was a dream because it definitely wasn't something that I knew that I was gonna do. Like, I literally grew up across the street from Memorial Hospital. Like, yeah. I literally could throw a rock and break a window over there if I wanted to from my porch. So, my grandma worked there when I was a kid, and I used to go visit her. And being like a little kid, everybody see you like, oh yeah, come here, let me show you something. So like the doctors would take me around, the nurses would take me around, some of the rad techs would take me around. Because my grandma knew everybody. She worked there for like 30 years. So subconsciously, I think I wanted to do something in the medical field. I never thought nursing. I thought maybe, all right, I'm going to go be a doctor. I'm going to be a surgeon or something like that. But, you know, you get away from that, and then it's crazy how things come back full circle. So, like, backstory, like my brother was disabled. So my mom was a nurse when, I was younger. And just watching her take care of him and like that kind of stuff. There's a couple other family members that worked in the healthcare field, so I always knew I wanted to take care of people in some way, shape, or form, but I never knew it was gonna be nursing.
Okay, that's dope. So now on as far as nursing, like do you work like long shifts or is it like normal 8-hour shifts? I know typically it's like 12 to 10-hour shifts.
Mm-hmm. So I work 13-hour shifts. Jesus. I'm working overnights. For those of you thinking about getting into nursing, it's definitely not for everybody because I work 7 p.m. to 8 a.m. 13-hour shifts overnight. Or you could work day shift, which is 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. But I mean, the cool thing about it is I work 3 days a week. I get 4 days off. I'm still full-time, get full-time benefits, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's a long day. I'm always tired, but at the end of the day, I'd rather work 3 13s than, 5 8s or, it's 4 10s or whatever everybody else does.
Yeah, because I work 5 8s and I'm like, all right, I'd rather do a 4-day shift.
Waking up every morning to do the same thing. I'm like, man.
So, what's the career path for a nurse? Like, if a person was looking to get into nursing, what would be the path they would take to get there?
So the path that I took, I became a CNA first. I was working at a local nursing home, wiping ass, as people would say. But so that's what I would recommend. I would recommend maybe not necessarily a CNA route, but like getting into a hospital, working as a personal care aide or working as a transporter, taking people to and from tests, just to get like exposure, so you know exactly what you're getting yourself into, so it's not a shock. So I became a CNA first. I did that for while I was in nursing school. I went and applied for a 2-year program. So I had a Associate of Applied Science in nursing. I got my 2-year degree. Luckily, right now they're not enforcing it, so you can get a job right away with a 2-year degree and make $50,000 right out of a 2-year program. And then I went back and got my BSN, or Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, from a local university, Niagara University. I showed them out. And I got my RN from NTRIP. And then you got you can be a 2-year degree nurse, a 4-year degree nurse. And then, there's still opportunities to go back. You can become a nurse practitioner. You become a nurse anesthetist, which is deliver anesthesia. You can, travel. Like they offering some obscene number right now with COVID going on. Basically, you can make like damn near $100 an hour just traveling.
I know 2 traveling nurses. I know 2 of them, and they
eating, right?
Going crazy.
Dog,
we graduated with 1.
Yeah,
we graduated with 1.
Yeah, making your whole year's salary in 3 months. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. So, as far what's the difference between the LPN and the registered nurse?
So, technically, there's not really much of a difference. LPN, licensed practical nurse, RN, registered nurse. Some people joke and say real nurse. I'm not that kind of guy, but that's what people say.
Yeah, I hear that. That's why I asked what was it. They be shitting on them LPNs.
Oh,
man.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I'm showing no love, man. But you know what? When I first started as an RN, I was fresh. I was 23 years old, 24 years old. Ain't no shit. You know who got me through my first year? A group of LPNs, man. But the difference really is like assessments. So LPNs, RNs do the same exact job. There's like maybe a $10 to $15 pay difference.
Damn.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Now you got your seasoned LPNs who've been working for 15 years and they maxed out, so the pay gap isn't that much for them. But LPNs can assess. They take care of their the patients the same way we take care of them. They pass meds the same way we pass meds. They can hang IVs the same way we hang IVs, but they can't. They can't do certain assessments. They can't handle certain IVs. Like they can't do like central lines. Like you might see people with like they call them PICC lines in their arms or a central line coming out of their neck. Yeah. They can't do that. They can't assess. So an LPN can go see something with their eyes, tell me, and then I'm the one who has to go look at it and document it. Like the stipulations in New York State are so weird. But if you go to other states, literally, I mean, the pay difference is still there, but we're working side by side doing the same exact job.
So then, why wouldn't LPNs? What degree do an LPN need to do to go turn into a registered nurse?
Go get that 2-year degree, man.
That's it?
Go get a 2-year degree. And you know what? Most programs, when I was at NCCC, after my first year, they offered us the opportunity to go back to school that summer. And if I would have took summer classes, I would have became an LPN. Literally 1 year. It's like 18. It's an 18-month program. So you can go to BOCES, you can go to a local community college, and bust it out. So yeah, all they need is that 1 extra year education, and they can become an RN and sit for their boards.
You said it's a $10 to $15 per hour difference for
depending on your work. Yeah.
I don't understand why people would want to be LPN for 30 years then.
I don't know either. Families, people get life happens, they get comfortable.
Oh wow. So there's like it's a high. I hear it like I'll be around like a group of nurses or something, or I know a group of nurses, and they just like I was in a bar one time and it was just 3 nurses shitting on the LPNs, and I just was like, what is I ain't ask them, but I'm like, what the fuck is the difference between the LPN and the RN? Like I don't understand. So it's just they have a little more power. The RNs have a little more power. Or authority, essentially, in the LPN. Basically,
I'm basically in because they don't really have LPNs in hospitals too much anymore. Mm-hmm. But in nursing homes, when I was there, even fresh out of school, I was on a job like 2 days, and it was LPNs that were there for 15, 20 years, and I was their senior. So if something happened, like New York State says, you have to have 1 or 2 RNs in the facility at all times.
Wow.
I think it's actually one, believe it or not. So you have 300 patients or 300 residents in a nursing home. You need one RN to be within code.
That's not good.
Yeah, but I mean, you can have 15, 20 LPNs, but you gotta have one RN there.
But they damn near just as good, essentially.
Exactly, if not better.
Oh,
because they got experience. That's the best teacher.
Oh my goodness, man, that's
crazy,
nuts,
right?
man.
Right.
So as far as like as nurses, because to be honest, we don't know a lot of male nurses. It's not a lot of them. Like when my son was in the hospital, it was one. You know, he was in the hospital 2 weeks, and they again, like you said, 3 days a week. So we swinging through nurses, and only one guy was a nurse. Like in your graduation class, were you the only male nurse?
Nah, actually, so I looked up some stats just for this. So when I graduated school, male nurses was like 9% of the nursing population. So it's like, I don't know, maybe 2 to 4 million. Don't quote me. I mean, y'all can look it up, Google it, whatever. But it's like 2 to 4 million nurses in the United States, right? So 9% of 4 million people or 3 million people were male nurses. Now, when I looked it up the other day, it was like 14%. So we're making a little traction. But when I was in nursing school, I've always been the only black male nurse or black male student. Or sometimes even black student, period. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and that's going all the way back to high school in certain situations. But it was, let me see, it's probably like 3 of us that graduated. 4 of us, maybe 4 males. That graduated. And as far as me teaching, my very first semester I had 2 males, but my last 2 semesters I had, it was just all women in my classes.
So wait, do you think it's a stipulation for men being male for male nurses?
I think we get more respect now. I think the problem is, I had to do a paper on this in school, that because it's a female-dominated industry, and a lot of the other industries are male-dominated, they've been fighting for a seat at the table for, it's almost like black people in a sense. I don't want to bring everybody into our struggle or anything like that, but, they've been fighting for a seat at the table, fighting for a little bit of respect, and they haven't been getting respect by the dominant population, which is usually, white men. And you look at it this way, the industries like engineering, I'll just use engineering for an example. Like the lowest degree you can have to get into that career is a bachelor's, right? The lowest degree you need to get into nursing essentially is a certificate from BOCES. You can become an LPN, right? Or you can get a 2-year degree and become an RN, and that's the entry level, right? So you already see the difference here. Engineering and nursing, or a 4 years degree, bachelor's in nursing only requires a 2-year degree at least. So I think it was an educational issue there. I think it's because it's a female-dominated industry, and I think those are probably the 2 major things as to why nurses didn't get as much respect. So forward to answer your question, when men are into the field, when I first started, first thing people think of is like, I'm in it just to get, like, I'm trying to get some cheeks. Like, I'm trying to get some girls, you know what I'm saying?
90% women.
I mean, hey, if I was single, the odds would be in my favor, you know what I'm saying? But, it's, I think it's just because of that, and now people are actually seeing what nurses are doing. With COVID going on, everybody like the frontline heroes.
They celebrating,
Hell yeah. You know what? It's about damn time, I finally getting our respect, I want my damn 10% discount, whatever the hell the military get, whatever these EMT and police officers get, I want that too. We should be all in the same group. But,
that should be an advocate, yo. That COVID is the perfect thing that you like. People didn't really respect nurses the way they did. They should. You know what I mean? I personally did, because when I had kids in the hospitals, I saw the doctor once a day.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm seeing the nurses all fucking day. Every hour, every 2 hours, there was a nurse coming in there making sure my kids was good.
I'm glad you said that, because, truthfully, the doctor, like Marv just said, the doctor, you'll see him once a day. He'll come in. Basically he's doing his assessment based off of my report. Yeah. They come to me first, because I usually in the ICU I sit right outside the room. I get my 2 patients or whatever. It's glass, so you can see everything. And they'll come to me, hey, how was the patient? What were the vital signs? Depending on what the patient's there for, they ask you to basically just update them on, their condition. They get the report from me as they're writing every little thing down, right? And then they go into the room, see the patient for 2 minutes, and then they come right back out. And you might see them put some orders in. And then if there's any changes in the condition throughout the day, I'm calling the doctor like, yo, this person's blood pressure's down. Yo, this person's in pain. Yo, this person's throwing up. Yo, it just don't look right. I need somebody to come assess. Where'd they get all that from? From me, from the nurse. You know what I'm saying?
I was about to say that.
But it's a pay difference, though.
Yeah, I was about to say that, too.
I'm over here saying, you know, you can make, and don't get me wrong, you can make 6 figures as a 2-year degree nurse. New York State hasn't required you to go back and get your 4-year degree, but they're saying it's supposed to happen within 10 years. But the doctor, straight out of med school, he's making, you know, close to half a damn mil, or potential to make a half a mil. And the nurse is making 30% of what his salary is.
That's crazy.
But we're doing all the work, basically.
Yeah.
He's taking all the liability, don't get me wrong. But it's some liability against my license, too, that I worked hard for. That I had some sleepless nights, too. So
You can say if you assess wrong or you don't get the right vitals, the doctor's going to be going based off your vitals.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, how you would call a doctor. That's the same thing. Like, a lot of times the nurses would be calling the doctor on the phone. Hey, I got this going on, da-da-da. Doctor, all right, well, go ahead and do this, this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
You know what the crazy thing is, though? Now that, you know, experience is the best teacher, so exactly that. Sometimes they won't even answer the phone. Your patient could be damn near getting ready to code. And if you guys don't know what code is, basically they're getting ready to die. Mm-hmm. If you don't do something right there in that moment, give them a medication to bring the blood pressure up, give them a medication to regulate their heart rate. It could be going extremely fast, extremely slow. You know, you gotta have fast twitch muscles. I compare the ICU to the league, basically. Mm-hmm. And like that's one thing I've always said. Like it's like professional nursing. ER, the ICU. Don't get me wrong. There's no disrespect to anybody who works in a nursing home, works on the floor. You know, who works home care, all that stuff. But it's nothing like working in the ICU or working in the ER where you gotta be on your shit. Like you gotta be paying attention because in that quick sense it could change. You know.
Yeah.
And I said it to say this. I was saying that the doctors take the liability, they get the insurance and all that. But I could fuck up, or somebody I can cuss, right?
Yeah.
All right, my bad. I could mess up, or you know, I could give the wrong medication, or I could give them the wrong dose of the medication because we have the power to go up and down. And essentially, as a nurse, you can contribute to somebody's death, or you can contribute to their well-being and them getting better. And 9 times out of 10, we know what it is that we have to do, or we have a policy that supports what we do. We have to call the doctor for the okay to do it.
Yeah, see, I was because PICU essentially is the same as ICU, correct?
Pediatric ICU.
Yeah, because that's for kids.
Yeah.
So like that's what I'm saying. Like it was times where like lights going off, you don't know what the hell going on. Mm-hmm. 4-5 different people coming in. Yeah, they come running in, like, you know what I mean? That shit is scary, especially with your kid. You know what I mean? So it's just that kind of thing. Doctor wasn't there.
Nope.
You know what I mean?
He came in all at the end.
Yeah, at the end. After everything's over with, they had to go find the doctor wherever the hell he was at. You know what I mean? You're dealing with nurses. So when it comes to that, so with the ICU, what's the difference between the emergency room and the ICU? What would that be? Like, because like let's say Houston's been shooting people left and right.
Right.
They typically would go to the emergency room, right?
First.
So it's the emergency room first.
Emergency room is the entry into the hospital.
Okay, so that's the entry to the hospital, and then you go either from the floor, ICU, wherever the case may be.
Yeah, so they call it triage. So you come in, they go by different colors. Like you got green, yellow, red. I think those are usually the 3 colors that they use. I can't break them down for you right now, but basically, if you're stable enough, they might hold you on observation, and then you can go home. Or if they hold you on observation, you don't do well, they'll send you to a floor. And then there's other levels, like you come in, like somebody got shot, like you just mentioned. They probably going right to surgery, and then probably the ICU after that for monitoring. So what the ER's job is to decipher. They like a filter. Yeah. They figure out who's critical, who's not critical, and then they put you where you're supposed to go, stabilize you, get your IVs in you, that kind of stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes we get direct admits right from the ambulance that come right to the ICU because, you know, they already know where they need to go, so they bypass all that. Or they come in mercy flown off the helicopter. Yeah. But yeah, so the ER is meant to filter where you go, and the ICU is meant to try to get you stable, whether it's for surgery, whether it's post-op, whether it's, you know, life or death situation, or whether they just need somebody to one-on-one, because we only have 2 patients in the ICU. Yeah. So maybe you just need to be monitored a little closer to make sure that, you know, you're gonna make it.
Okay. So now, like, what was your scary situation? You ain't gotta be specific with the name or whatever, because I know we got HIPAA laws and things of that nature.
You're trying to get me caught up, man.
So, what would be like a scary situation? Let's use a hypothetical. What would be like a scary situation?
People come on, man, catch a case, huh? Good Lord. My scary situation. So I got a crazy story though. I cannot share the story. I was my first year of nursing, so it's probably like 2015. I actually had a patient commit suicide in the room.
What?
Yeah, I haven't told many people this story because you know how you like try and cope stuff and just like put it in the back of the file cabinet.
Yeah.
But I was training. It was Christmas Eve. My guy had came. He was with us for a couple weeks before. Older gentleman, in his 80s, was at a nursing home on the rehab unit, and he just kept saying, you know, after this, I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home. So they finally let him go home. He fell. He came back the next day. And as soon as he came back, as soon as he was coming through the door, they pushing this man in the wheelchair down to the unit. I don't want to be here. I want to get out of here. You know, he's like, turn up, right? So he get him in his room. His family was there. It was all quiet. Craziest day though. Like you could just tell when like something's about to happen. Like it's like that eerie feeling.
Yeah, it was that eerie
It was
feeling.
super dark. It was cloudy. It might have been raining and windy, kind of like how it is outside right now. And I was training somebody, so we was walking like. It was a day we was short too, so I had in the nursing home and just break it down. You get like 13. You can have like 10 to 20 patients, right? Mm-hmm. That's a lot because you got to pass meds on all these people, do assessments or whatever. So we was running behind obviously because we were short, and something told me I was going to see him next, and something told me don't go in that room, go see this other person, and then come back. So what I did was I delegated. So I found my CNA at the time. Like, yo, can you just do me a favor? Can you just go put eyes on him and just let me know that he's, you know, he good. Whether he's sleeping, he's watching TV, just need to know he all right. So she goes into the room and she comes out like immediately, like with this like scared look on her face, eyes bugged out, like basically like crying, like oh my god. So I'm like, what? She's like, no, come here. So immediately, I had worked with this person for a year, so I knew, you know, you kind of develop relationships with people, and I'm like, yeah, something ain't right. So I went in there. As soon as I walked in, I'm going to be 100% honest with y'all, so just bear with me. I walked in, and there was a pool of blood under the bed, just on the floor. You could smell the blood as soon as you open the door. And basically, you know, like those little scissors, the manicure scissors that's like super sharp and
hell yeah, exactly what you talking about.
He had slit his wrist with that, and both wrists. He had tried to get the femoral artery, the artery right there in the groin.
So he knew what the hell he was doing.
Yeah, he had scratch marks on his neck. He had scratch marks on the groin, but what he had got was his wrist. But the even more fucked up part about it is that he was a DNR. So for you people that don't know what that is, you can get this pink paper. It's called a MOS form. Basically, it's a medical order for life-sustaining techniques or life-sustaining something. Basically, it's a list with check marks on it, and you can just check them off and sign it. And it's a legal binding document that tells us what you want us to do for you in the event that you're too sick and you can't communicate, you know, your wishes. So he said basically he wanted to be a DNR DNI. He had a pacemaker and a defibrillator implanted, so I'm sure some of you guys, you know what a pacemaker is. Makes your heart beat, normal rhythm. And a defibrillator is if it senses that either your heart stopped or it was in a crazy rhythm, it was shock, right? Mm-hmm. So blood all over the floor. He's laying there sprawled out, basically dead right in front of us. But pacemaker was firing because it noticed that he didn't have a heartbeat, so it was trying to restart his heart. So he's literally flapping like that, right? So what do you think when you see somebody moving alive, right? So immediately we start doing compressions, and he was a new admission, so we didn't get a chance to put the DNR or full code sticker on him yet, right? Because we used to keep it in the name band. So we doing compression, wrapping his arms up. Like everybody's like in that moment, like that's why I'm saying being a nurse ain't for everybody, because in that moment you kind of got to have an out of body experience, and you go into you tunnel vision. You focus on what you got to do, and you deal with the emotions afterwards.
Your training's supposed to kick in.
Yeah, but your training don't prepare you for no shit like this.
Yeah.
They don't tell you can experience some stuff like that. Or even when you're in the ICU dealing with colds, they don't tell you how to, they don't tell you how to cope in the moment. So it's really something that's either in you, like you either got it or you don't. You remember a Gatorade commercial, like, is it in you?
Yeah.
Is it in you or is it not? And that's why, some people quit. But anyway, we was doing compressions on him, and somebody came back and was like, no, he's a DNR, we got his chart. So we went from walking to the room, seeing this guy sprawled out, trying to save his life. Meanwhile, he was already gone, but his defibrillator was shocking him, so he was moving. We thought he was there. And then he already had signed his wishes where he did not want to be resuscitated. So we had to stop everything we were doing right then and there. Thank God, again, there was a couple of LPNs that were there. It was one LPN in particular. And then I wish I forget the RN's name. She had been there for a couple of years. I would shout you out right now if I remembered your name. But if you see this video, you know exactly who you are. That was probably the craziest thing I ever had, ever happened. And honestly, they never experienced, everybody that was there. There was director of nursing, they had to call in the police, they had to call, everybody had to come. Basically, the who's who that you call when it's an emergency, that would show up in the community at your house, they had to come to the facility, had to sit through interviews, they had to take statements. They don't question you it wasn't like an interrogation per se, because it was nothing that I could have done, but it's uncomfortable because it's like, I'm trying to cope with what the hell I just seen. Yeah. And now 5 different people want to ask me to repeat the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's fresh on your mind too. That's usually they want to get it when it's fresh.
So I haven't even processed it yet. I don't even know what's going on yet in my head, but that's probably the craziest thing I've ever seen, man.
Yeah, my grandma was a DNR. And she just died earlier this year. Yeah, she was a DNR.
Sorry to hear that, man.
She was ready to go.
Yeah.
She probably was like that 80-year-old guy.
Yeah.
Going through all that goddamn surgery. She had a pacemaker too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She was going through all them surgeries and stuff. She's like, I'm good. Yeah. And then in October of last year, they was like, at this point, ain't nothing else we can do for her. Yeah. Nature's just going to take its course.
Right.
And to her, that was a happy time.
How did y'all cope with that though? How did y'all accept?
I've been accepted
what it was, or did you have people that were being a little unrealistic?
Her 2 kids, her daughters were unrealistic and they weren't willing to accept it. But her and I had so many conversations. I used to go visit her at the nursing home. She was at what's the joint in St. Mary's?
Our Lady of Peace. Yeah, that's where I was at.
Okay, yeah. So she was there. Yeah, she was there, and I used to go visit her, and I was like, I just hope she make it to my son. Because my son was born in October. So we got the news in October, and then he was born a couple weeks later, and then I took him up there. And,
your baby?
Yeah, the baby.
Okay.
So I took him up there in December. Early December before Christmas. So he saw her before Christmas, and they saw her on Christmas. And then she died January 4th.
Wow.
You know what I mean? January 4th, January 6th.
Well, she held on, man. You got pictures, right?
Yeah. Hell yeah. Okay. So it was all that.
Yeah,
she held them and everything. Because I knew. She been told me, she was like, I'm ready. I'm not. She was one of the people, I'm not in the life of being taken care of, and always sick and just feeble. She got so light, I was able to just pick her up.
Wow.
Yeah, she weighed less than my daughter. You know what I mean, when she died. So she was, to her, it was time for her.
Yeah, she was ready
so
to go. She was at peace.
Exactly.
She was at peace.
Her daughters weren't. You know what I mean? But she had her affairs in order. So I tell people, I always tell people, you know what I mean, have your paperwork in order. You know what I mean? She had her burial insurance, no GoFundMe. She died on Monday. She's buried by Thursday. She got cremated.
It was already set up.
Yeah, she already knew. So
that, I'm glad you said that. I can piggyback on what you said. Because honestly, what I recommend, is even though, we young, I'm only 30, I'll be 31, this upcoming year. But just having those conversations, those shits are super uncomfortable. A lot of people are afraid of death. I can go on. I've been a nurse for going on 7 years, so hundreds of people passed away, unfortunately. But having that uncomfortable conversation with your old loved ones, and then also some of your younger ones, what you want your wishes to be. But the most important thing is to get them doing some writing, because we can have a conversation right now, and I can tell you what I want. But because it's not in writing, you don't necessarily have to respect what my wishes were, and for your own I don't want to call it selfish reasons, but because sometimes people aren't able to cope and understand what's going on, so their emotions get in the way, and they hold on even when there's no. They have hope even though when science and everything is on the table that's showing you that they're not going to recover, or they're not going to have a fruitful life, or anything after that. So, but they still hold on. We've had people go back to surgery 20 times. The doctor, after a while, ethics gets involved, and they're like, you know what, listen, enough is enough. Resources and like all that kind of stuff are kind of, for lack of better words, they could be used in other places. But just having them conversations, man, and getting it in writing and letting people know exactly what it is that you want to do, so that if and when your time comes, because we all got a date.
It's guaranteed, man.
Yeah. That we can have it taken care of, and you don't have to put that stress on your family, and they're gonna be sad enough. You don't want to have them having to make medical decisions, and then also like funeral arrangements and like all that stuff afterwards. So.
My grandma knew to tell me. She was like, she tried talking to her
daughters.
daughters.
A sensible one.
Yeah, she tried talking to her daughters, and she's like, they're not listening. She's like, I need you to talk to them into letting me get a DNR. Because at one point, she couldn't make her own medical decisions.
Right.
She wasn't her own.
So she had a proxy.
Yeah, she had a proxy, which was my mom. Mm-hmm. So she was like, it was my mom and my aunt or whatever. Mm-hmm. She's like, I need you to talk to them into letting me get a DNR. Right. And then she's like, when it's going to happen, I need you to let them know I want to be cremated. I want to like. She had to give me all the instructions.
That's a lot. That's a lot of weight on your shoulders. This is your grandma you be talking about.
Exactly.
So.
But I always been the one who was very accepting of death. Mm-hmm. Like I understood that it was a guarantee that it was going to happen. There was no way around it, and I don't believe in suffering.
Right.
So like when I remember I was talking to her about that, and I was like, yeah, I got my health insurance and got my burial insurance, and she's like, oh yeah, I got mine too, and she was like, and I was telling her, I was like, I already told my wife and all them, I said, listen, if the doctors tell you I'm not coming back, do not let me sit there being a vegetable.
I don't want to be no vegetable.
And when I told her that, her eyes like lit up. She's like, oh, so I can tell him what I want because he understands.
Right.
And I used to just visit her all the time, and she
used
to always tell me.
People, you listen with your heart or your mind, and sometimes a lot of times people's emotions get involved, and it blocks out what the sensible decisions are. I think.
Yeah, so she told me, man, and I had to plan her funeral. I had to when she died. I was on maternity leave actually when she died.
Oh wow!
And I was able to just go over there every day with my mom and my aunt, and I had to go to the funeral home with my mom and aunt, and I had to just pretty much set everything up because they just couldn't do it. They would not accept it. It was just too much for them. You know what I mean? So I was like, good thing Nana told me. I was like, I've been
you know exactly what she wanted.
Yeah, I knew what she wanted. Like I knew I still was gonna cry when she actually died. Of course. I knew when we got the word that they told her, hey, nature's taking its course. I made sure I went to go see her immediately.
You take advantage of that time.
Yeah, I'm like because I was already seeing her all the time anyway. Yeah. You know what I mean? When they finally happened, she was like, I was like, well, Nana, this is what you wanted.
Yeah, my dad's mom just hit me with that. She was like, yeah, the cancer's back, and I'm not gonna fight it. And I'm like, that's a lot for you to just put on me right now. But I hear what you're saying, and I know why you're saying it, and I'm gonna do better.
Yeah,
for real.
That's why you gotta be somebody gotta be a sensible one, or they gotta be written down. Like even with my mom, you know what I mean? She had kidney surgery, and she had to, all that she was doing with my grandma, she knew she can come talk to me about it. I'm like, Ma, it's a little different.
Yeah, between
my mom and my nana. Yeah. My nana was like a third, like she was centerpiece. You know what I mean? Right. My nana, my aunt, my mom was the three women, and then my other grandmother too. Mm-hmm. 4 women that helped raise me, and then my dad as well. So it's like it wasn't easy, but they understand. Again, she's like, I need one logical person. Yeah. So I got her affairs in order too. So we already and. She's not on the cusp. Like her surgery was successful.
Yeah, but you just got to make sure, that
somebody got to know something.
Care of.
Yeah, somebody got to know something. So that's how that goes. But man, so I want to ask you some things in regards to that. Speaking of, like we was talking about earlier with the gunshots, with the artists, the rappers, and just people in general. Like, what do you think about what's going on in the hip hop industry right now with all these artists getting shot? King Von just got killed. Boozy got shot in the leg. Benny the Butcher got shot in the leg. Mm-hmm. Mo 3 just got killed. Yeah. Like, what do you think about this situation that's going on with these artists?
I think it's crazy, man. Sometimes people rap about certain things, and You know, sometimes they're really about that life. You know, I saw the video, the King Von video. Unfortunately, I had to watch it a couple times because I'm like, yo, did I really just see what I saw? You know what I'm saying? Like, you could see the sparks from the gun fly off and everything. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. I think sometimes, and this could be with general people, like the energy that you put out is the energy that you receive sometimes. So, you know, they're, you know, rapping about killing and shooting and toting guns and all that shit. But I think really what it boiled down to even more is that it's other people that's jealous. You know, you walk around with your chain swinging, you know, you're getting out the Bentley or the Rolls Royce or whatever you're getting out of, and you got some dude in the cut just watching you, can't wait for you to, you know, catch you slipping. And to try and take what you got, you know. So it's crazy, man. But I think that's really what it is. I think it's jealousy. I think we got to get out of this whole flaunting stage too, especially right now. Times is hard, you know, with the whole COVID thing going on. People out of jobs, you know, and even before that, some people was just doing bad anyway, and they just looking at the next person as an opportunity. In certain situations, and I think that, I don't know the backstory on the Boosie thing, but I saw on TMZ, maybe not the best source of information, but I saw on TMZ about Benny, and I guess they tried to roll up on him and rob him, and basically they shot him in the leg. You know, God willing, you know, he's straight, but yeah, I think it's jealousy, man, and I think that people being opportunistic.
Yeah, they hungry now. And then with the Benny thing, it seemed like, because I read the article too, they were saying he was taking too long.
Yeah.
So they like, oh, y'all think we playing. So they like, yeah, shot him in the leg, like, move a little faster. But then they ended up not robbing him or anything like that, because it was just, they ended up leaving after they shot. But I call it hyenas, man. The hyenas is out. I used to say the wolves is out.
Yeah.
But, you know, wolves are intelligent. They move in packs. They strategic. I can't call these kind of people wolves.
My spirit animal is a gray wolf.
Yeah. I call these people hyenas, man. Because hyenas got this smash and grab.
Man.
Yeah. Like, it's just like, I get it. You know what I mean? People fall on hard times. You know what I mean? But to think that, yo, let me go rob somebody who worked hard, it's kind of, that's different to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I saw an article where a dude robbed, what is it called? It's that clothing store called, it's by Tops. Damn it.
You talking about the joint on Portage?
Yeah. What's it called?
I know what you're talking about.
The clothing store. He robbed the clothing store. He got like $5,000 for it.
Really?
But he was like, yo, he told the girls, yo, hey, you be safe out here.
The robber told him?
Yeah.
Wow.
And everybody was like, yeah, who she's going to be safe from? From you? I was like, I don't think y'all understand. He had no intentions on hurting her.
Right.
This man is hungry.
Right.
He just wanted the money, and he was going to go in peace.
Yep.
She gave him the money,
Thank
and
God.
she let him go in peace, and he didn't hurt her.
Yeah.
Absolutely. She didn't fight him or nothing. That's what I be tell people. If that happens, unfortunately, it's an unfortunate situation. Just do what they say and let them. If they come in there, if they robbing you and tell you to open the register, they come in there for the money. You know what I mean?
Listen, even me just walking down the street every day, you know what I mean? Sometimes, you know, I go like this, or I don't have my jewelry showing or anything like that. But I told my fiance, you know, we had a conversation. I'm like, you know, I go to the range for a reason, you know, to stay sharp. But she's like, you know, but at the end of the day, you got kids. We got to be able to come home, and you know what I mean? So she talked a little sense into me, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. Somebody ever came to me, bro, you could have it. I just want to be able to go home and see my kids, man.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm the same way, man. You know, I'm legally armed. But I said, if somebody get the drop on me, whatever you want, you got it. You got that, bro.
Just let me keep my life.
Yeah,
that's all I need.
That's all I'm asking. All I'm asking is let me keep my life. If you want my wallet, you want my phone.
That's
like,
all replaceable, man.
It's like super
Take
replaceable.
keys on my car, whatever.
Take the car.
Yeah.
It got its full insurance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You rob me at gunpoint, insurance gonna clear that quickly.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? One police report. I'm a licensed insurance agent. So, you
already know
know what I mean?
Yeah.
I already know what's up. Yo, you got that. Phone can be replaced. I'm cool. You got that too.
Can't replace that life though.
Exactly. I don't carry that much cash, so if you think you can cash out of me, I tell you right, I got $30 on me right now.
Yeah, I got $1.
I got $30 on me right now. That's for gas.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So that's, you ain't getting that out of me. So
No.
you got debit cards, credit cards. You hit for like I don't even carry all my credit cards. Yeah, I don't carry credit cards on me unless I absolutely need to use it. So you go get the debit. Even if you want to use the money in the debit card. Hey,
bro. Listen, I got my life, bro.
Exactly. I'm gonna give you whatever you need.
Yeah.
But you better come with a gun. I'm gonna tell you, you better come with a gun. Because if you come with a knife, I'm gonna laugh at you.
But they say don't bring a knife to a gun.
Yeah, don't bring a knife. I'm not, because I'll be, people like, oh, people be surprised. I always have my gun with me. I'm like, listen, I want to look like I don't have a gun with me. That's cool.
Times is hard, bro.
Yeah.
And it's crazy out here, and we gotta stay safe. Man.
Exactly. I got kids.
Yep.
That's all I think about. Like, I gotta go on my kids. So if somebody want to come at me with a gun, you get a drop, it's you.
Yep.
But you come at me with a knife, I'm not even gonna immediately shoot you. I'm gonna just put my gun out. I'm like, you want to have this kind of, you know what I mean? Because I want you to go home. Because you might have family too. You probably doing this because your kids are starving.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So like, I ain't gonna immediately try and kill you unless you trying to hurt me.
Right.
But you know, you gotta think it out, that kind of stuff, man. So.
No doubt.
But yeah, man. As far as the election, what are your thoughts on the election results or non-results or whatever the hell they got going on? I mean,
so this is the first year they ever did mail-in ballots, right? Is this the first time?
Mail-in ballots was always a thing you can do. You can always mail in
super
absentee.
difficult to get approved for it, right?
Yeah, now this is the year they say it's going to be immediately approved. Anyone can do it because of COVID. Yeah.
Okay, right.
But the polls were still open. You can still go to the polls.
And you had early voting that you could have went and in person voted and all that stuff.
Which that was always the thing too, the early voting thing.
Right.
But this the
it
first
was only
time.
In certain states, though.
Yeah, this is the first time they let you go in person in early
vote. Right.
Yeah,
especially
because
in
of
New York
COVID.
State.
Yeah, they strict as hell.
I mean, I don't know, man. You see how people acting. We was talking earlier about the march, the MAGA march or whatever they called it.
They disrespectful, man. The million. They actually call it the Million MAGA March.
So I mean, you can see it right there. I mean, listen, like I saw a post on Instagram like shortly after the election. I'm like, all right, so now we back to the racism that I grew up on. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just feel like this climate that we living in right now, it's so much negativity. It's so much. I mean, I'm gonna put it this way. I kind of welcome the racism in a sense because I want people to be truly who they are, and I want to know who you are as a person, so I can know, like, I thought we had a relationship, and then you going home and behind closed door, you saying whatever you're saying about, people that look like me, but now that people are out and blatant with it, that's cool. You know what I mean? That's one thing I always respected about the South, because everybody is entitled to their own opinion. You can be who you are, but just be true to who you are. Don't wear a hood, don't wear a mask, don't wear none of that shit. Just be who you are. It's people that like that, and it's people who don't. But with the election, I mean, you heard the stuff about Biden with the crime bill. You heard the stuff about Kamala Harris with her time. Was she a DA or something like that?
She was the top cop in California.
Right.
Truancy laws. She's
So
holding people in jail, withholding evidence. Like,
yes, but then she gets the credit for being the first black woman / Asian / Caribbean, whatever. Yeah. So I mean, truthfully, I kind of stay out of politics. I feel like the presidential position is just a figurehead anyway. I feel like the agenda, whatever the agenda is going to get pushed through regardless of who's in place. I think they just put a different face on it, and some people it makes some people feel more proud because a certain face is on that position, and it enrages other people, as we can see what just happened with these results. Trump lost, so they say. I don't know how they can count that many votes in that little amount of time. Thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of votes or whatever. That's why I wanted to nurse it. But it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But back to the Million MAGA March. I mean, it's just people out here just really out here wilding out, man.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, I be sharing these little classes to go get their pistol permits. Just bare minimum go get a pistol permit. You can go get a rifle tomorrow.
OD. You know what I mean? Yeah, you used to be able to go to Walmart. Not no more.
Yeah, you can go to like Cabela's.
Get around going.
Yeah, they gone too.
There's spots out here, man.
It's other little small spots. Yeah, you can get rifle, shotgun, whatever. So I tell people, like, I'm not saying that to incite violence. I'm telling you that there's people out there.
House, man.
Yeah, they on that kind of time.
Like you told me about the woman who got knocked out. I didn't hear about that. A young woman got knocked out. So I mean, at the end of the day, like we talking about, we want to be able to go home to our families and stuff. I mean, it's the same thing. If I'm out at the grocery store and I'm in my own zone, it's somebody out there with ill intentions on their mind.
That's a fact.
You know, initiations or whatever they got going on. They see me, they might see me as a target. I don't know. I got 2 kids at home, boy and a girl. I got a fiance I got to take care of. Family I got to take care of. My mom, my brother, my uncle. All these different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to continue to be that. So, you know, if you're able to protect yourself legally, you know, protect yourself, you know.
Absolutely, man. So, any closing remarks for people, man? Anything you would want to say to people as far as like getting into nursing or just in life in general?
I'm gonna say this: no excuses, man. I'm a product of a single parent household. My pops wasn't there. God rest his soul. God bless his dad. You know, I had male influences throughout my life, from cousins to uncles to, you know, shout out to Knuckles Bradley, big influence in my life. But no excuses, man. I was raised by 2 women. They say my grandma and my mom, they say women can't raise a man to be a man. I can say that they can give you what they know, but obviously you're influenced by, you know, other things in your environment, you know. So it's important to have a male so it's important to have that male influence around. And I got to where I am today. I ain't never been arrested. I never even been in the back of a cop car. Never been in handcuffs. Thank God. But I'm saying that to say this: life is what you make of it. You know, we grew up poor. We grew up in the hood. You know, multiple hoods around Niagara Falls. I just had somebody and I had somebody who wouldn't let me succumb to, you know, what was around me. So
Especially on the east side in the 90s.
Bruh, Nathan Wild was real, man. I grew up on 10th Street.
Yeah.
And then I spent a little time over here in Center Court too. So, you know, but I had, you know, I had a good support system. Surround yourself with good people. Even as adults, you can still surround yourself with a good support system. People that, you know, trying to do the right thing. People that got good energy. And I mean, like I said, we were talking about the artists. The energy that you put out there is the energy that come back. Some people call it karma. I just call it just trying to be a good person and trying to be a better version of myself. So it's never too late to get right, and it's never too late to you know, make amends. It's never too late to your past is your past. Is basically what I'm saying. It don't define who you are going forward. It's just a piece of, you know, who you are today. But just keep moving forward. Don't give up. And if it's something that you're trying to do in life, don't let the kids be an excuse. Don't let you staying at your mom's house be an excuse. Don't let any of that be an excuse, man, because everybody got something that they're going through. And just use that as motivation to reach whatever goal it is that you have. And I'm going to leave y'all with that.
Absolutely, man. Derrick, man, I appreciate you coming through. I wanted to give people a change of things. I want to give people some different kind of perspectives. Because like you said, man, the way we grew up, we didn't have that many examples. You know what I mean? You had them in your household, but not a lot of people had those in their households.
Thank God.
You know what I mean? I was definitely in the back of a cop car. You know what I mean? I was, you know, we all had different influences, but I learned from my mistakes and cleaned up my acting, you know.
Don't get me wrong. I wanted to be out there. You know what I'm saying? My mom was like,
they had that. Yeah, they knew.
Yeah. So she whooped my ass so the cops didn't have to.
Exactly how it should be.
Yeah.
I'd rather that happen than, you know, what the cops do. They look at you different.
Exactly.
All right, man. I appreciate you coming through, man. Mars World Radio.
All right, y'all.
I'm in my own lane, trying to handle business. I'm just out here trying to get it. Me and my team trying to get it. Get some money, then flip it.